I am doing a review for this book. Yeah, that's how I'm going to start. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys a review of a book that I read back in February. I'm trying to keep this all really spoiler-free. I am redacting a lot of things and kind of like boiling it down. I would say this is spoiler-free. I'm not going to get into anything that is very spoilery, but I doubt you'll want to read this, to be honest. I didn't say what book I'm reviewing. I'm reviewing Ignite by Lily Paradis, and a lot of people got this book for review a while ago. I want to say like 7 or 8 months ago, and I actually bought this for like $1 on my Kindle, and that's why I read it, because so many people were like, this book is amazing. I ended up giving it 1 star, probably my only 1 star of the year so far, and I have a lot of problems and frustrations about it. From just the synopsis on Goodreads, there is like a lot going on already. They talk about how her dad was killed in a mining accident and her mother's like abandoned her, so she's kind of just been by herself for so long. She is about to graduate college, and then this other accident happens to like her aunt or her uncle, I think both of them, and then she ends up taking care of 3 children. I think what really bothered me about this novel is that there is so much going on that there were a lot of different parts that didn't make sense. They didn't feel like this was one cohesive book. Lauren, our main character, was also a really big problem for me because she felt very immature. She felt more like a 16-year-old rather than 22, someone who is about to graduate college, get a degree, which is a really big deal. She didn't have this like feeling of self-awareness or anything. She was very selfish in a lot of different ways, and you could see that throughout the novel. And what most annoyed me was that we got very little backstory on anything that wasn't her mother and father. Yes, we know your mother abandoned you, and we also know your father died in a mining accident, but what are you about? Very small things about Lauren as her own person, and as a main character, I want to know a lot of things about you, and I felt like I didn't know this girl besides her relationship with this man and her trying to take care of these kids. Like, I knew nothing about her. Her aunt and her uncle put her as like the sole living guardian over their 3 kids, which is ridiculous because throughout the novel you see countless times that her uncle, who has a wife, is very capable and willing to take these children, and even after she's granted temporary custody of them, she keeps leaving them with her uncle, who is probably a better fit guardian than she is. She's essentially a teenager. She will drop everything for this Dean guy. She goes up to the mountains. This is in the first 100 pages. She goes to a ski resort with a group of people that I don't really think she knows that well, and she leaves the kids. I don't understand why you would grant custody to a 22-year-old when there is obviously a suitable guardian who actually takes care of them when this girl just decides to leave. The main problems I had with this novel were that the writing was very lackluster. There wasn't anything special about it. A lot of the plots were very disjointed and very obvious. There were points where I would kind of connect the dots to certain things, and the main character is very oblivious to like everything. I also felt no attachments to Lauren as a character or Dean Powell, who's supposed to be this kind of brooding neighbor next door. I felt nothing for the relationship as well that ends up happening. There are a lot of points in this book that will repeat themselves over and over again. It's like you're beating a dead horse after a while. It kept bringing it up in a way that you were supposed to be like, oh, I've never heard of this before, even though I have about 20 pages before. And it's consistently about her mother who has abandoned her. We also get kind of like a sneak peek into like her past relationship, but then it's dropped and we never really hear anything about it. Like, that's what happens a lot in this book. will get something that is kind of major and then it'll drop for 100 pages. In the first kind of 100 pages, there is this build up to this one moment, and then the moment is revealed, and that was the point where I was like, whoa, I think this book has some potential. And then it went nowhere. The revelation was completely dropped. I never heard about it for another like 100 pages. This was a big moment, and then it didn't come up again. It's like, what was the point? As a character was very kind of like mysterious and like brooding sort of. They meet in the beginning at like this DMV place because she's getting her driver's license renewed. And she meets him, but it's really kind of this like weird stalkery kind of meeting. I literally thought this was gonna be like some Criminal Minds thing where he stalks her and then all of a sudden she like falls in love with him, and then he ended up being the neighbor to the children, and the children love him, so obviously she has to love him too. Their relationship was so annoying. Every time they would talk, I would put a note in my Kindle as an eye roll because they would say the cheesiest things that I have ever read. I was cringing. I have to say, getting through this novel was like being on The Amazing Race. I had to trek through so much bullshit that I didn't think I was gonna finish it. Overall, I felt like Ignite was cheesy. I felt like it was underdeveloped. I don't think the plot was good. I don't think it was aligned in a very cohesive way, and it felt very disjointed. I felt like if they had ventured a little bit more into Dean's past or Dean's life at all, it would have been a much better book. Maybe if this was dual perspective somehow, it would have been at least a 3-star book. I'm not necessarily saying that you shouldn't read this, but I'm saying that there are frustrating parts about the plotline and about the characters. But if you are gung-ho on reading a contemporary really fast, you should read it, I guess. When I edit this, it'll probably be a hot mess, just like this book. That is it from me today.